Everyone thinks Bitcoin will lead the next bull run, but the real leader in 2026 might just be Ethereum. And here's why: the numbers already prove it. And stick with me until the end, because I'm going to give you a price prediction for ETH in 2026 that could shock a lot of people, and maybe even change how you invest. So why are some of the biggest names in finance quietly preparing for an Ethereum land grab, even before the headlines catch up? Ethereum is about to enter a completely different playing field. With new crypto-friendly laws like the Clarity Act and the Anti-CBDC Act, plus supportive signals from the SEC and even political figures, institutions now have the legal green light to buy ETH and DeFi assets. Big players like BlackRock, Robinhood, and Coinbase are already setting up shop. And here's the thing: institutions can't gamble on random meme coins. They need compliance-friendly, large-cap assets, and ETH sits right at the top of that list. Once they start buying, they don't stop. They keep adding over time, steadily pushing the price and network value higher. But here's the part almost nobody is talking about, where that institutional money will actually flow first, and why it's going to supercharge ETH in a way most people aren't ready for. Because institutions aren't just looking to buy ETH, they're aiming to plug it directly into the most profitable corner of crypto. The real magic happens when institutions don't just buy ETH, they start using it as the backbone for DeFi. DeFi is one of the rare areas in finance where more money literally makes the system work better. Deeper liquidity means faster trades, better rates, and more adoption. The biggest and most battle-tested DeFi protocols, Maker, Aave, Pendle, all run on Ethereum. Once Wall Street money starts flowing into these chosen winners, they can become unstoppable, just like MicroStrategy became with Bitcoin. And institutions love productive assets that generate yield, and DeFi offers exactly that in a form they already understand. And this next piece is why 2026 could be the single biggest turning point in ETH's history, bigger than 2017, bigger than 2021. So what happens when institutions are loading up while retail investors are still asleep at the wheel? Right now, retail investors are completely ice cold. If you look at YouTube subscriber and view counts for crypto channels, we're back at 2019 levels. That means there's almost no hype yet. But behind the scenes, institutions are already accumulating. And unlike the fast, explosive pumps we've seen in past retail-driven cycles, this time the cycle could extend well into 2026, maybe even beyond, giving ETH more time to build fundamentals and absorb massive inflows before retail catches on. Remember Bitcoin's ETF run? 40% of that entire move happened before the ETF was even approved. The same could happen with ETH. And when you see where Ethereum's price could realistically go once this plays out, you'll understand why waiting for confirmation could be the most expensive mistake you ever make. If the cycle really stretches into 2026, the upside might be far beyond what anyone is daring to predict right now. Based on what we're seeing, ETH could easily surpass $15,000 in 2026. And longer term, if Bitcoin ever hits $1 million, it's not crazy to think ETH could approach $100,000. Institutions are already planning to build their future financial systems on Ethereum and its Layer 2 networks. The ones who win big here will be the ones who take a low time preference, in other words, the patience to let this cycle mature. But here's the trap most investors will fall into, and it's the reason so many will miss the easiest money of the decade. Because the biggest danger in crypto isn't losing, it's winning too late. The biggest risk is waiting for the headlines and retail hype before you take action. By then, the easy entry points will be gone. There's a simple rule you can follow: if you're bragging to your friends and taking screenshots of your gains, that's usually the moment to take some profits. The market will almost certainly move slower than people want, but it could also go much higher than anyone expects. If you position yourself before the 2026 wave, you could capture not just a huge single move, but a decade of compounding growth. This kind of setup only comes around once or twice in a lifetime. So here's that price prediction I promised, and why it could shock the market. If Ethereum continues to gain institutional adoption at this pace, absorbs billions through DeFi, and rides a macro cycle into 2026, I see a realistic target of $15,000 to $20,000 within the next cycle. And if Bitcoin pushes to $1 million, I believe ETH could even test the $100,000 mark before the decade is over. That's the kind of asymmetric opportunity that turns a well-positioned investor into a multimillionaire, if they have the patience and courage to act before the crowd. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit like so more ETH holders see it, subscribe for daily crypto updates, and comment below. Will Ethereum's 2026 run outshine Bitcoin's bull cycle?